Hey y'all, back at it again. Talking about blood. Blood.
Only matters when you are laying in an emergency room. You are ignoring a massive piece of your biological puzzle. The letter on your medical chart is actually a permanent genetic blueprint that silently dictates your daily risk for blood clots, how high your stress hormones run, and whether your heart is naturally protected from disease. Today, we are breaking down the unfair genetic advantages and the dangerous blind spots of every single blood type, including the incredibly rare golden blood that fewer than 50 people on Earth actually possess. The biological ghost, type O negative. There is a specific group of people walking among us who are essentially the world's most valuable walking insurance policies. If you are O negative, you are what we call a universal donor. In a high-stakes emergency room where every second counts and there's no time to test a patient's blood, doctors reach for your type. You are the only person whose blood can be pumped into anyone else's veins without causing a fatal reaction. You are the ultimate backup plan. But while you're busy saving the world, your own body is playing a high-stakes game of VIP only. The biggest unfair disadvantage here is that O-negative types are incredibly picky. While you can give to everyone, you can only receive from other O-negatives. It's like being a universal key that can open every door in the building, but your own house requires a key that only 7% of the population carries. From a health perspective, O-types, both positive and negative, have a massive leg up in the heart department. Research consistently shows that O-types have a lower risk of developing blood clots and heart disease compared to A or B types. It's as if your blood is naturally a bit more slippery, making it harder for the pipes to get gunked up. However, history hasn't always been kind. While you might be resistant to certain modern heart issues, historical data suggests O-types were more vulnerable to the Great Plague and are still more likely to deal with stomach issues like ulcers. It's a trade-off, a stronger heart, but a more sensitive gut. If you're an O-negative ghost, drop a comment below. Does the pressure of being everyone's emergency backup ever get to you? The extinction level rarity, Rh null, golden blood. If O-negative is rare, this next type is practically a myth. Imagine a blood type so scarce that fewer than 50 people in recorded history have ever been confirmed to have it. It's officially called Rh null, but scientists and doctors refer to it as golden blood. To understand why this is an unfair advantage, you have to look at the flags on your blood cells. Most people have Rh antigens. These are like little ID badges that tell your immune system who belongs and who doesn't. Golden blood has 0 Rh antigens. It is a completely blank canvas. This makes it the most universal blood on Earth. It's even more compatible than O-negative because it lacks the proteins that can sometimes cause minor reactions in rare cases. For researchers, golden blood is the holy grail. It's used to develop life-saving treatments and solve complex medical mysteries. But for the people who actually have it, life is a tightrope walk. Because their blood is so unique, if they ever need a transfusion, they are in a massive bind. There is no stockpile of golden blood. Most of these individuals have to fly across borders or donate and freeze their own blood years in advance, just in case they have an accident. It's the ultimate irony. You carry the most life-saving liquid on the planet, but it's nearly impossible to find someone to save you. The resilient workhorse, type O positive. If the world were a machine, O positive blood would be the fuel that keeps it running. This is the most common blood type on the planet, held by about 1 in 3 people. While it might not sound as exclusive as the others, being O positive is actually one of the safest biological positions to be in. The unfair advantage here is the sheer power of numbers. If you are O positive, you will almost never face a blood shortage. Your type is the first thing stocked in every blood bank and hospital on every continent. You also share that heart healthy perk with your O-negative cousins. Because your blood doesn't have certain sticky proteins found in A and B types, your risk of strokes and cardiovascular events is significantly lower. Think of O positive as the all-terrain vehicle of blood. You are rugged, your replacement parts are everywhere, and you have a natural resistance to some of the world's nastiest parasites, including the most lethal forms of malaria. While A and B types might struggle in certain tropical environments, O types have a built-in shield. It's not flashy, but in the game of survival, being the standard is a massive win. If you're an O-positive workhorse, hit that like button. You're the reason the medical system stays afloat. The ultimate consumer. Type A, B positive. Now, let's talk about the biological vampires. If you are AB positive, you have the most selfish and brilliant blood type in existence. While O negative can give to everyone, AB positive can take from everyone. You are the universal recipient. In an emergency, an AB positive person is a doctor's dream. It doesn't matter what's on the shelf. A, B, O, positive or negative, your body will accept it all. You have every ID badge possible on your blood cells, so your immune system never sees another blood type as an intruder. It's like having a universal passport that lets you into every country without a visa. However, this open door policy comes with a catch. AB types have a higher concentration of certain clotting factors. In an evolutionary sense, this was a huge advantage for our ancestors. If a vampire type got into a fight with a predator, their blood would clot much faster, meaning they were less likely to bleed out from a wound. But in the modern world, where we sit at desks and eat processed foods, that extra clotting power can backfire. It leads to a slightly higher risk of blood clots in the legs or lungs. It's a powerful survival mechanism that just needs a bit of monitoring in the 21st century. The intellectual outlier, type AB negative. Coming in at less than 1% of the population, AB negative is the rarest of the standard 8 types. In some cultures, particularly in East Asia, blood types are treated like zodiac signs, and AB negative is often associated with the genius or artist archetype. While the personality side of blood types is more about fun than hard science, the biological reality of AB negative is fascinating.
We always select the best strawberries. Yoplait, America's favorite strawberry yogurt.
The Tempur-Pedic Intact mattress eases your pressure points in a way no other mattress can.
I started a business to give old clothes a new life, and Chase has supported me from the beginning.
Support for her body and mind. Metagenex Ultra for a complete women's probiotic.
The unfair advantage here isn't the blood itself, but the plasma. While their red blood cells are rare, AB negative plasma is universal. This liquid portion of the blood is used to treat burn victims and people in massive shock. If you have this type, you are a walking gold mine for trauma centers. The downside? Because this type is so rare, there isn't as much data on it as there is for the O or A types. Some clinical observations suggest that AB types might be more prone to cognitive fog or memory issues as they age, possibly due to how their blood interacts with brain chemistry. But on the flip side, their immune systems are often described as highly alert, capable of spotting certain types of infections that other blood types might miss. It's the intellectual type, complex, rare, and highly specialized. The settler, type A negative and A positive. Type A is often called the agrarian or settler blood type. Why? Because evolutionary researchers have noted that type A began to thrive right around the time humans stopped hunting and started farming. As we began living in closer quarters and domesticating animals, our immune systems had to change to handle new types of bacteria and viruses. If you have type A blood, your unfair advantage is your immune system's historical experience with crowd diseases. While O types were great at surviving in the wild, A types were the ones who could handle the diseases that come with city living. You have a natural resilience to certain respiratory infections that would have wiped out our ancestors. The trade-off for this urban resilience is a slightly more sensitive stress response. Clinical studies have shown that people with type A blood tend to have higher naturally occurring levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, in their bodies. This means that when things get hectic, an A type might feel the fight or flight response more intensely than an O type. It makes you highly organized and detail-oriented, but it also means you need to be more intentional about relaxation. If you're a type A settler, do you find yourself being the planner in your friend group? Let us know in the comments if the cortisol theory holds up for you. The nomad, type B positive and B negative. Finally, we have the nomads. Type B blood is most commonly found in populations that have a history of migration, particularly across the vast plains of Central Asia and into Eastern Europe. This blood type evolved in harsh, changing environments, and it shows. The unfair advantage of type B is versatility. B types are often the most balanced when it comes to the immune system. They don't have the hypersensitivity of type A or the slippery nature of type O. They sit right in the middle. This makes them incredibly hardy when it comes to changes in diet or environment. However, there is a specific quirk found in clinical research. Type B blood has a slightly higher correlation with how the body processes sugar. While they are resilient against many infections, B types have a slightly higher statistical risk of developing type 2 diabetes if they aren't careful with their lifestyle. It's as if their bodies were designed for a nomadic life of constant movement and varied food sources, and they struggle a bit with the high sugar, sedentary lifestyle of the modern world. The blood type power rankings. So, who actually has the best blood? If we're talking about pure survival in a crisis, AB negative takes the crown because they can accept help from anyone. If we're talking about being a hero to society, O negative is the clear winner. But if we're talking about long-term health and heart resilience, O positive holds the unfair advantage. The reality is that every blood type is a specialized tool. Some were built for the forest, some for the farm, and some for the city. Your blood type isn't just a letter on a medical card. It's a story of where your ancestors lived, what they ate, and how they survived the obstacles of their time. Understanding these unfair advantages isn't about worrying. It's about knowing your body's unique owner's manual. Whether you're a universal ghost, a biological sponge, or a common workhorse, your blood is doing things behind the scenes that you never even realized. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Most people don't even know their blood type until they're an adult. Do you know yours? And after hearing this, do you feel like you've got the cheat code blood, or are you looking at your heart and gut a little differently now? Drop your...
Know your blood type. Very important.
On the trail, every step is a new challenge. What happens if you don't run away from the hard stuff? What happens
Nice shot.
if you run toward it?
I have to look for them. It's a nice shot.
Your blood is doing much more than simply pumping oxygen through your veins right now. It is a microscopic archive of human survival, constantly fighting off invisible threats based on the genetic code you inherited from ancient ancestors. Today we are exploring the core topic, every hidden advantage of your blood type explained. By the end of this video, you will learn exactly why your specific blood type evolved, what silent protections it gives you against ancient diseases, and the unique health advantages circulating in your cardiovascular system. Right, we are going to decode the microscopic locks and keys that dictate how your immune system responds to the modern world, translating complex clinical research into the hidden realities of your biology. O positive, the ancestral survivor. O positive is the most abundant blood type on the planet, pulsing through the veins of nearly 4 out of every 10 people. To understand its power, you have to picture red blood cells as microscopic vehicles. In type O blood, these vehicles are completely smooth. They lack the molecular attachments known as A and B antigens. The smooth
I don't like
surface
them
acts
so
like a
low.
biological
I don't know if y'all
shield
can
when
hear
certain
that.
severe parasites enter the body, most notably the parasite responsible for the deadliest forms of malaria. They try to force red blood cells to stick together. In clinical research, this sticking process is called rosetting, and it acts like microscopic Velcro, creating dangerous blockages in the bloodstream.
Can y'all hear that?
Because O positive cells lack those extra surface attachments, the parasite struggles to grab hold. As a result, individuals with O-positive blood have a profound clinically proven survival advantage against severe malarial infections. Beyond infectious diseases, your O-positive blood carries a hidden advantage for your heart. Research shows that type O individuals naturally produce lower levels of a specific circulating protein called von Willebrand factor. You can think of this factor as cellular glue. Because O types have less of this glue, their blood is naturally a bit thinner. This translates to a significantly lower baseline risk of developing deep vein thrombosis, dangerous blood clots, and certain types of heart attacks compared to other blood groups. However, this same thin blood means O types might experience slightly more bleeding after an injury. A positive, the agrarian shield. A positive is the second most common blood profile globally, carried by roughly 30% of the population. If type O is the ancient hunter-gatherer, type A is the biological footprint of the agricultural revolution. Thousands of years ago, as humans stopped wandering and started building dense, crowded farming communities, they lived closer to livestock and open water sources. This sudden change triggered massive outbreaks of infectious diseases. In response, the A antigen evolved as a fortified defense system. The A marker on your red blood cells is essentially a molecular security guard. Clinical observations have shown that the A antigen produces a more aggressive immune response against certain bacteria and viruses that ravage dense populations. If you have A positive blood, your cellular architecture is optimized to fight off specific strains of respiratory infections and environmental pathogens that thrive in crowded cities. However, biological advantages always require a trade-off. The exact same immune structure that protects a positive individuals from ancient plagues makes their blood slightly more prone to coagulation. Studies indicate that type A individuals have higher natural levels of clotting agents. While this helped early farmers survive severe physical injuries by stopping bleeding quickly, in the modern world it translates to a slightly elevated risk for cardiovascular events. Your A-positive blood is a heavy-duty shield, perfectly adapted to a world of physical trauma and crowded living. B-positive, the nomad's adaptability. B-positive blood flows through the veins of roughly 10% of the global population. This blood type is an evolutionary marvel, representing a genetic middle ground between the ancient O type and the agricultural A type. Historically, the B antigen spiked in populations living in the harsh nomadic environments of the Eurasian steppes and the Himalayan mountains. The hidden advantage of B-positive blood lies in its unique interactions with the microscopic world inside your own body, specifically your gut microbiome. Medical researchers have discovered that blood type antigens aren't just on your red cells. For many people, they are also secreted into saliva and the lining of the digestive tract. The B antigen acts as a highly specific food source for certain beneficial gut bacteria, allowing B-positive individuals to extract energy from a wide variety of changing diets. Clinically, B-positive blood offers a fascinating defensive profile. Researchers have tracked how the B antigen alters susceptibility to viral loads. For example, B type shows strong resistance to certain aggressive strains of bacteria that cause severe digestive illnesses. It is a biological Swiss Army knife, developed by ancestors who were constantly on the move, facing rapidly changing climates, shifting diets, and unfamiliar pathogens. Maintaining a stable B-positive blood supply today requires targeted community effort, but those who carry it possess an incredibly adaptable genetic blueprint.
Why is it so low? What's going on? I don't like that it's low like that.
Before Orange Theory, I was a teacher who couldn't keep up with her own students. But I got my smart back. The energy at Orange Theory is electric. I started with burn fat and build muscle, going from a size 10 to a 2. I found more energy, more strength. The real change was realizing I can do hard things. Now, I'm the role model my students deserve in the classroom and in life. You gotta try it. Book a free class at orangetheory.com.
U.S. banks are protecting savings, so is one to reward you. It's the oil price goes under pressure.
Setting spray presents mist and bubbles.
AB positive, the modern chimera. Carried by less than 5% of the world, AB positive is the rarest of the major positive blood groups. It is also the youngest blood type in human history, emerging only a few thousand years ago, when populations carrying the A and B genes finally merged. If you have AB positive blood, your red blood cells are heavily decorated with both A and B antigens as well as the Rh factor. Because your immune system grew up recognizing all of these markers as friendly, it does not produce antibodies against them. This gives you the ultimate medical advantage. You are the universal recipient. In a massive emergency, a trauma surgeon can give you OAB or AB blood and your body will accept it without a fight. Your immune system is a biological diplomat that speaks every cellular language. But the advantages go beyond the emergency room. Clinical studies reveal that AB individuals often show highly resilient responses to specific strains of viral infections thanks to their double-layered security system. Because they possess both A and B defenses, certain viruses that easily bypass a single defense mechanism get caught by the other. The trade-off is that AB blood tends to be the thickest of all blood types. Researchers have noted that elevated levels of clotting factor 8 in AB individuals require them to be more mindful of cardiovascular health as they age, balancing their incredible immune versatility with vascular care. O negative, the medical master key. Making up roughly 7% of the global population, O negative is arguably the most famous blood type in modern medicine. Red blood cells in O negative individuals are completely stripped of all major identifying markers. They have no A antigens, no B antigens, and no Rh protein. Because it lacks all these identification tags, an O negative red blood cell is a ghost in the system. When transfused into another person, the recipient's immune system doesn't register it as a foreign invader. This makes O negative the universal donor for red blood cells. In chaotic disaster scenarios or high trauma emergencies where there is zero time to check a patient's blood type, O negative is immediately pulled from the pool. It is the master key that can stabilize almost any human being on Earth. However, the biology of missing the Rh factor comes with deep evolutionary mysteries. Recent neurological and parasitology studies have explored how Rh negative individuals react differently to widespread parasitic infections, such as Toxoplasma gondii. Some clinical observations suggest that lacking the Rh protein may subtly alter reaction times and immune signaling when exposed to specific environmental pathogens. The hidden advantage of O negative is its unmatched medical utility, granting those who carry it the legacy of being the silent protectors of the modern healthcare system. A negative, the rare defender. A negative is a highly specialized genetic profile found in less than 2% of the population. It combines the robust infection-fighting A antigen with the complete absence of the Rh protein. This creates a highly restricted medical profile. If you have a negative blood, you can only safely receive a negative or O negative blood. Because the donor pool is so small, hospitals guard a negative supplies fiercely. But from an evolutionary standpoint, a negative carries the exact same aggressive immune defenses against dense population diseases as its positive counterpart, providing a strong internal fortress against bacterial threats. The real biological drama of a negative blood historically occurred during pregnancy, when an A negative mother carries a baby with Rh negative blood. Her immune system treats the baby's Rh protein as a hostile invader, building an army of antibodies to attack it. Today, maternal medicine easily neutralizes this threat with a simple, brilliant injection that camouflages the baby's cells. But before modern medicine, surviving and passing on the A negative gene required incredible biological resilience. Carrying this blood type today means you possess a rare immune strength intertwined with a delicate genetic history. B negative, the genetic outlier. At roughly 1% of the global population, B negative is an extreme genetic outlier. It contains the nomadic, adaptable B antigens, but completely lacks the Rh protein. In clinical settings, a B negative patient has a remarkably narrow window for transfusions, able to accept only B negative or O negative red cells. Because the B gene is most prominent in parts of Asia, and the Rh negative mutation is most prominent in parts of Europe, the B negative combination requires two vastly different geographical bloodlines to intersect. And the advantage of being B negative lies in its highly specific immune configuration. Recent clinical reviews suggest that individuals lacking the Rh factor while possessing the B antigen exhibit altered inflammatory responses. When exposed to certain respiratory viruses, their immune systems trigger different pathways compared to the general population. This unique cellular architecture means that B-negative individuals often fight off infections using biological tactics that the vast majority of human immune systems simply do not possess. It is a limited edition blueprint of human survival. AB negative, the universal liquid gold. AB negative is the rarest of all the main blood types, circulating in less than 0.5% of the global population. They have both A and B antigens, but no Rh protein. While they face incredibly strict limitations on whose red blood cells they can receive, their hidden advantage lies not in their cells, but in the golden liquid that carries them, their blood plasma. Because AB negative individuals have both A and B antigens, their immune system never produces antibodies against them. This means AB negative plasma can be transfused into any human being on Earth, regardless of the recipient's blood type. In trauma wards and burn centers, universal plasma is liquid gold. It is used to stop massive bleeding, reverse shock, and stabilize patients clinging to life. From an evolutionary perspective, the AB negative profile is the ultimate biological paradox. They represent a tiny fraction of humanity, possessing a fragile genetic inheritance that requires an exact match for red cells, yet they hold the universal cure in their plasma. They stand at the absolute extreme edge of human variation, carrying the most complex and valuable biological fingerprint in existence. Your blood type is a living testament to human endurance and evolution. Which one is flowing through your veins? Drop your blood type in the comments below, hit the like.
Thank you to delete. O positive. You don't just love your pet, you obsess. Good Charlie Energy is the electricity provider with great plans for you and free perks for pets. Good Charlie Energy, power to the pet people.
Costa Del Mar, where every adventure is waiting to be discovered. Let's see what's out there.
You may think your blood type is just something written on a medical card, a small detail, a routine fact. But what if it is much bigger than that? What if your blood carries a story that goes back thousands of years, long before cities, long before modern medicine, and even before many of the things we now call civilization? Your blood type is more than a label. It is one of the oldest clues inside your body. It quietly points to the journey of your ancestors, the places they lived, the dangers they faced, and the way human beings changed over time. Some people never think about it, but blood type has been part of human life for a very long time. In fact, the ABO blood group system was discovered in 1901 by Austrian scientist Karl Landsteiner, and that discovery changed medicine forever. But the real mystery is not only how blood types help doctors, the real mystery is what they may tell us about human history. Why do some blood types appear more often in some parts of the world? Why do certain groups have stronger patterns in different regions? And why do researchers still study blood types when trying to understand migration, survival, and disease resistance? The answer is simple. Blood type is not random. It carries traces of the past. It can reflect ancient movement, survival under pressure, and the way humans adapted to changing climates, diets, and infections. In a way, your blood is like a record book. It does not speak in words, but it still tells a story. And that story is not the same for everyone. Some blood types are seen as older and more common. Some are rarer and linked with mixing between different populations. Some may have offered survival advantages in harsh times. Others may have come from major shifts in how people lived, ate, and traveled. That is why this topic is so powerful. It makes people look at themselves differently. You stop seeing blood type as just a number or letter, and you start seeing it as a deep part of your identity. It reminds you that your body did not appear out of nowhere. It is the result of a long chain of survival, struggle, movement, and inheritance. So in this video, we are going to break it down in a simple way. We will look at blood type O, blood type A, blood type B, and blood type AB. We will talk about where these types may have come from, what kind of people may have carried them first, and why they still matter today. And once you understand this, your blood type will never feel small again. But the oldest blood type may have helped your ancestors survive the harshest world humans ever faced. Let us start with blood type O, because for many researchers, this is seen as the oldest and most basic blood type in human history. Some scientists describe it as the original type that came first in early humans. Whether you call it the oldest or the ancestral type, one thing is clear. Blood type O has a very deep connection with early survival. Imagine the world your ancestors lived in. There were no supermarkets, no hospitals, no clean water systems, and no modern protection from disease. People had to hunt, move, adapt, and survive with very little. In that kind of world, survival depended on strength, speed, and resistance. Blood type O may have offered some advantages during those harsh times. Today, blood type O is still one of the most common blood types in many parts of the world, especially in populations with deep ancient roots. In some indigenous groups in the Americas and parts of Africa, type O appears in very high numbers. That is one reason researchers believe it was present in early human groups, long before populations spread across the globe. There's also an interesting survival angle. Some studies have suggested that blood type O may be linked with a lower risk of certain heart problems compared to some other blood types. At the same time, people with type O may also have a greater tendency toward ulcers in some cases. So, like every blood type, it has strengths and weak points. Another important point is this. Blood type O may have helped people during dangerous disease outbreaks in the past. In ancient times, infections were one of the biggest killers. People who could survive more easily passed their genes forward. Over many generations, that survival pattern became part of human history. That is why blood type O is often seen as a symbol of endurance. If your blood type is O, think about what that means. It does not make you better than anyone else, but it does connect you to a long line of survivors. Your ancestors lived through floods, famine, migration, hunting seasons, and disease. They did not give up. They adapted. They made it through. And because they made it through, you are here now. That is a powerful thing to think about. Blood type O also reminds us that human life has always been about movement and adaptation. The people who carried this type were not sitting still. They were crossing lands, following food, and learning how to survive in a world that changed all the time. That kind of strength still matters today. So, if your blood type is O, the bigger story is not just about a letter. It is about survival, resilience, and the first chapter of the human journey. But the next blood type is linked to one of the biggest changes in human history, the birth of...
Lesson number 3. They won't feel your fit out there until you feel it in here. They ain't on you, baby.
Looking like a snack. Want it, need it, cheese it. Cuddle and save on insurance with Liberty Bibbity.
The line is bundle and save on insurance with Liberty Mutual.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. I have puppies.
Well, put the puppies down.
I can't. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 Liberty.
No one does you like you. A true original. It may be that one and only laugh of yours. That face you make. Yes, that's the one. Or the way you share your passions.
Of farming. Now let us talk about blood type A. This blood type is often linked with a huge turning point in human life, the move from hunting and gathering to farming. Around 10,000 years ago, people in different regions of the world began settling in one place, planting crops and living in larger communities. Life changed fast. Diet changed, daily work changed, even the way people interacted changed. Many researchers believe blood type A became more common as humans moved into farming life. That does not mean every person with type A came from a farming family, of course, but it does suggest a connection between blood type and the way people lived. Farming societies ate more grains and starches, lived closer together, and depended more on cooperation. The body often changes over long periods to match the world around it. Blood type A has often been associated with people who were more settled, more social, and more community-based. In ancient times, this may have been useful because village life required teamwork. People had to plan food storage, share resources, and live in tighter spaces. That kind of life was very different from the roaming lifestyle of early hunters. Some studies have also suggested that people with blood type A may respond more strongly to stress. That is one reason many health experts say stress control, sleep, and balance are important for type A individuals. Their bodies may react a little differently in high-pressure situations. Again, this does not mean every person is the same. It just means blood type can sometimes point to general patterns. Type A also has an interesting symbolic meaning. If O is the story of survival in the wild, A is the story of building and settling. It is the story of fields, harvests, families, and growing communities. It is the story of humans learning to shape the land instead of only following it. That is why blood type A feels so important in the bigger human story. It reflects the moment when people stopped moving all the time and started building something that could last. Villages became towns, towns became cities, and slowly, civilization took shape. If you have type A blood, you can think of it as a sign of that chapter in human history. Your ancestors may have been part of the first people who learned how to live with the land in a new way. They were not only surviving, they were creating. And that creation changed the world forever. But the next blood type tells a very different story, one of travel, distance, and life on the move. Blood type B is often linked with movement, travel, and wide open spaces. While type A is connected with farming and settled life, type B is usually tied to people who lived a more mobile life. Many historians and genetic researchers connect this blood type with ancient nomadic groups across Eurasia, especially in regions like Central Asia, Mongolia, and parts of India.
Think about what that lifestyle must have been like. No fixed home, no comfort of staying in one place for long. People moved with animals, followed water, crossed harsh landscapes, and faced changing weather, long journeys, and unfamiliar dangers. Life was tough. It had to be. Only the strong and adaptable could survive that way. That is why blood type B is often described as the blood type of the traveler or the wanderer. It fits the image of people who did not belong to one small field or one village alone, but to wide lands and long routes. These were the people who crossed mountains, deserts, and grasslands. They carried culture, food, language, and trade from one region to another.
Some researchers have suggested that people with type B may have stronger immune flexibility in certain ways, which could have helped ancestors who were constantly exposed to new environments and new germs. Whether that was a direct cause or part of a larger survival pattern, the link between mobility and adaptation is very strong. Even today, the highest numbers of type B blood are often found in parts of Central Asia, South Asia, and East Asia. That geographic pattern matches old migration routes and ancient movement across continents. In other words, the blood map still carries hints of the past. If your blood type is B, your story may be one of flexibility. Your ancestors may have lived where the land opened wide and where survival depended on movement. They had to trust the road. They had to adjust quickly. They had to accept change without fear. That is a different kind of strength. It is not the strength of staying still. It is the strength of always being ready. Ready for the next season, ready for the next journey, ready for the next challenge. Blood type B reminds us that human history was never only about one place or one way of life. It was also about migration, crossing borders, and carrying life forward through distance. And just when that story seems complete, there is one blood type that brings two old worlds together. Because the rarest blood type may come from the moment two very different human paths finally crossed. Blood type AB is often seen as the rarest of the major blood types. It is also one of the most interesting. Why? Because it may represent a mixing of two older bloodlines, one linked with farming groups and the other linked with nomadic groups. In simple words, AB feels like a bridge between two different human worlds. This is why many people describe AB as the blood type of connection. It carries both A and B antigens, which makes it unique. It is not just one story, it is two stories joined together. That is why it often feels mysterious and special. Historically, blood type AB is believed to have appeared much later than O, A, or B. It likely became more common when different populations came into contact through trade, migration, war, and marriage. As people mixed, new genetic patterns appeared. Over time, the AB blood type was born. That means if you have AB blood, your lineage may reflect human meeting points. Your ancestors may have come from different places, different lifestyles, and different communities. Your blood may carry the memory of old roads, old markets, old borders, and old unions between people who once lived very different lives. There is also an interesting modern health angle. People with type AB are often called universal recipients in blood transfusion settings, meaning they can receive blood from other types more easily than some others. That makes AB especially important in medical situations. It is rare, but it matters a lot. Some studies have also suggested that AB may be connected with certain health risks, such as a slightly higher chance of some conditions later in life. But these are only trends, not destiny. Blood type may give clues, but it does not decide your future. Lifestyle, food, exercise, stress, and medical care all matter far more in daily life. Still, AB remains fascinating because it stands at the crossroads of human history. It is the blood type that says two paths met here. It reminds us that human beings were never truly isolated. They traveled, exchanged ideas, built families, and slowly created the world we live in now. So if you are AB, your story may be one of balance, mixing, and connection. You may carry the memory of both movement and settlement, both tradition and change. And that brings us to the final part, what all of this means for you today. Because your blood type is not just ancient history, it may still give clues about your body right now. Now that we have looked at the 4 major blood types, the big question is simple. What does it mean for you today? The honest answer is this. Blood type does not decide your life, but it may still tell you something useful about your body, your history, and your health patterns. That is why people find this topic so powerful. It connects the past to the present. It tells you that your body is not random. It carries old survival lessons inside it. It reflects the lives of people who came before you, people who faced cold weather, rough food supply, disease, migration, and endless change. For example, some studies have suggested that type O may have a lower risk of certain heart problems compared with other types, while type A may show stronger stress responses in some people. Type B has often been linked with adaptability and diversity, while AB is rare and often medically important because of how it works in blood transfusions. These are general patterns, not fixed rules, but they are still worth knowing. What matters most is understanding that blood type is one part of a bigger picture. It is not your destiny. It is a clue. Your food, sleep, movement, mindset, and medical care matter every single day. But your blood type can still be a useful part of your personal story. And maybe that is the most beautiful part of all. You are not just a person living in the present. You are the result of millions of tiny survival choices made across generations. Your ancestors survived long enough for you to exist. They crossed land, built homes, raised families, and passed life forward. Your blood is a living reminder of that journey. So, the next time you think about your blood type, do not see it as a boring medical note. See it as a chapter from human history written inside your body. See it as a sign that your life is connected to something much bigger than this one moment. Your blood type is not just about health. It is about memory. It is about survival. It is about where you came from. And most of all, it is about the fact that your body still carries the story of your ancestors. In the next video, we can go even deeper into what your blood type says about your health, your habits, and the hidden secrets in your body.
I don't know if this matters, but I want to ask this question.
There are better places to be hot. Places like that hotel pool, where you can cool off with a little dip. Come on, book that trip. It's easy. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Indigo children are very special, and like crystal children and rainbow children, collectively, their purpose is to change the course of the world. If you are an indigo child, know that you are extremely gifted, and you are entrusted with the mission to challenge what has been, and to make the world better for the future generation. This video will help you to find your soul's mission and your place in the evolution of humanity. Indigo children may not immediately identify themselves as such. The concept of indigo children is relatively new, since the idea emerged in the 1970s. You may not even know that you are of indigo origin, or that you are the first in your line of being an indigo child. However, we know that throughout our history, many people lived as indigo children, fulfilling their mission to push humanity towards spiritual awakening. Despite the term children, an indigo child could be anyone of any age who unconsciously or subconsciously knows that they exist for a higher purpose. Indigo children are born with a mission of helping humanity achieve spiritual awakening. Indigo children have a very different perception of the world, and they are not bound by the expectations of society and the chaos it brings. They are free thinkers who possess great insights into people. They are sensitive and intuitive people, which gives them the ability to know the truth. Indigos are old souls, and they are very gifted. This makes it hard for them to fit in within societal standards and norms. They sometimes are misunderstood. Indigo children are also gifted with spiritual abilities and supernatural gifts. They can easily communicate with spirit guides or enter the spirit realm to commune with the higher beings. The most distinct characteristic of an indigo child is their desire to find the truth about everything. This trait sets them apart from other people. They will fearlessly question every system, belief, or rule, and challenge the truth behind all these. For a long time, indigo children have been misunderstood and often misdiagnosed. A lot of these gifted people were seen as being problematic and having behavioral issues when they were younger. However, the truth is that indigo children are inherently strong-willed and untamable. They are passionate about reaching their goals and dreams and will not easily give up. They do not let themselves be controlled by the premise set by others, and they do things the way they see fit. Indigo children are as intelligent as they are compassionate. They have a profound desire to start the change that the world badly needs. This drives them to seek the truth, to be kinder, and be more empathetic. Lastly, indigo children care deeply about their spiritual being and their spirituality. When they are awakened, they will influence others to take that step to their spiritual awakening and consciousness. Do you think you are an indigo child? Let's delve into that a little more and talk about the 4 types of indigo children. The humanist indigo children are first.
Some pandemonium to your practice?
The bachelor's program at Walden University partnered me with a personalized career coach who drove my job application process so I could become who I always wanted to be.
Your career is our job. Walden University. Set a course for change.
Tools from Harbor Freight are doing hard work in real garages across America, like Nico's one-man shop.
Administrators, gather around. I'm Dr. Chambers, partner with Midal to share some period concessions and tips.
These indigo children are often doctors, counselors, therapists, or teachers, where they interact directly with people. Through their respective fields, they can touch the lives of many people. This type of indigo child is the most sociable and friendly. They can easily get along with people and have the ability to make them comfortable when they are interacting with them. The conceptual indigo children are the second type. These children are planners, or they like to plan their life course. You can find them working as engineers, architects, designers, astronauts, and pilots. They have a strong need to control things. When they were younger, they may have been too controlling with their parents. They work methodically, and so they value their time and will often choose to work alone. Conceptualist indigo children strive for discipline and routine to achieve the results they want. They are also very analytical. The third type of indigo children are called artists. These individuals are naturally sensitive people. They are gifted with creativity and artistry, so they will most often become performers, or teachers, or advocates of the arts. They are more drawn to creative production and processes than being in the spotlight. They may play multiple instruments or work with different mediums. They often develop skills in different forms of the arts, but they need to work hard in developing these skills and talents. They use their art to express themselves and touch the heart of other people. This type of indigo child may come off as dramatic in their younger years or up until today. But it is undeniable that they are hardworking and deeply passionate people. Lastly are the catalysts, or interdimensional indigo children. These indigo children are dedicated to bringing a new perspective when it comes to philosophies, religions, and traditions. They are uncontrolled by the norms of humanity. They want people to realize their views and perspectives about life. They are strong-willed and passionate about their philosophies. When they are younger, they could have been seen as disruptive and contradictory. Also, catalyst indigo children like to spend time with nature. Being an indigo child is not easy. You are often misunderstood. You do not really feel that you fit in the world you live in. Your divine gifts and abilities are close to the surface, and the desire to become the change the world needs is strong. Your energy screams change and spiritual awareness. Do not be afraid to show who you are and to tell the world what you are capable of doing. Be brave when it comes to facing judgments and misunderstandings from people who are not as aware as you are. You are meant to help the entire human race, and you can change their perceptions by being you. You must be the first.
EMPRESS Bank can help turn this dream into reality. While you stay true to your dreams, we'll stay true to you.
I need women to know that you're not limited to anything other than living your life.
Could you be a crystal child? Highly psychic and sensitive, with magnificent eyes where people can see the universe in you? If people tell you that your energies and auras are glowing, bright, and radiant, then this video will help you explore your unique spiritual gifts. Crystal children are known to follow their hearts as idealists in a world limited and troubled by the material world. They are apt to search for their higher consciousness instead of forcing their way through life and the hardships of seeking material success. If you watch till the end of the video, you will uncover your gifts to the world and receive new tools to assist you on your journey. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please click the subscribe button now and hit the notification bell so you will get notified of our upcoming videos. They say that the portal to a person's soul is through their eyes, and that is the exact feeling you get when you look at a crystal child. Crystal children are said to be the second wave of humans who have been born to change the world, following indigo children and before rainbow children. So, what makes this generation so unique? What are these people here to do? How do you know if you have a crystal child in your life or you are one? Exploring the unique idea of crystal children requires having an open mind, which, ironically, is exactly what they say these children are here to teach. Crystal children started to become known in the late 1990s. Like indigo children, Crystal children also exude an old soul persona. However, crystal children are perceived to be the next evolution of indigo children. They possess a crystalline or opalescent aura that makes them unique. While indigos, like the energies of Ganesha, are here to pave the way by breaking down outdated rituals and institutions, the crystal children are here to develop, mold, and create new ways of living, while acting as the bridge between the old and new. Crystal children are often born to indigo parents who can support and protect these rare souls as they go about their mission. What are the crystal children here to do? The mission of crystal children is to serve as energy beacons and champion unity among humanity. They are here to bring people together through love, expression through the arts, and communication. Crystal children see others as equals, regardless of their differences, and they have a unique ability to see beyond the surface to the depths of a person's feelings. Some also believe that the crystals are here to work on raising the vibration of the planet through the energy grids of Earth. These grids also serve as a way for these children to communicate and unite with others like themselves around the world. The 5 unique characteristics of a crystal child. The first thing that you'll notice about a crystal child is their eyes. Often large, beautifully colored, and enchanting, the eyes of a crystal are a window into their soul. If you spend time with a crystal child, it's impossible to deny their old soul energy, and they have several unique characteristics that make them stand out among their peers. Ethereal. Crystal children seem to be in the world, yet not of this world. They have fewer burdens of the desires of the rest of the world when it comes to making sacrifices for material pursuits, as they see through the illusion of this world in its purest essence. Imagination.
Better sleep is simple. Just track your activity. Exercise regularly with exposure to natural light. Or maybe you just need a little more from your mattress. An adjustable base offers personalized comfort with customizable head and foot positions that can help relieve back pain and alleviate snoring. Elevate your sleep at Ashley.
Why me? I've had this fight with me since the very start. I had people in my corner, believing me. And now I'm here, giving back to the community. They gave me everything.
At Capella University, we give you the support you need to go on to support others. What can't you do?
Get outside stat. Banana boat.
Your turbos transfer about.
Many of us had imaginary friends as children, but to a crystal child, it isn't just imagination. Like seeing the code behind the matrix, crystal children have an incredible sense of creativity and artistic expression, and what we call their vibrant imaginations could be how they truly see the world. Supernatural ability. Some say that crystal children can hear, see, and feel far beyond the senses of a typical person, which can lead to them feeling overstimulated. But these senses also help them with the healing arts. Many of their psychic abilities are centered around physical and emotional healing, communing with nature, and being able to communicate with angels and fairies. Integration with nature. Nature and these children are one, and they thrive in natural environments and around animals. Crystal children may say that they see fairies and other mystical beings, and they can spend hours with rocks, crystals or sitting quietly out in nature. Empathy. In the soul of a crystal child is a deep need for peace within themselves, their families, and the world as a whole. It makes them possibly the most empathic generation, and they are not the type of person who will understand the feelings and the emotions of others. Seeing others in great pain may even overwhelm them. Challenges of being a crystal child. Crystal children are at once both extraordinarily powerful and extremely vulnerable. Their power comes from their deep love and understanding of humanity, but it also leads them to negativity and dangers that plague our modern world. Whether you believe you are a crystal child or you have children in your life that have this distinct mission, some of the risks of existing with these abilities include struggles with fear, negative reactions, and anger of others, relying on parents or caregivers, being very sensitive to unnatural foods, chemicals, and medications, tendencies towards addictive behavior and daydreaming in adulthood, risk of anxiety, and other mental health challenges. It sounds like a big job, and it is. However, these children are also said to be born with special traits that give them the tools necessary to open hearts, inspire people, and transform the world as we know it. Crystal child abilities. To a trained psychologist, most crystal children would be referred to as introverted individuals. But those who hold tight to the concept of crystal children acknowledge that these youngsters possess the desire to uplift humanity and the natural world as a whole. Their entire life's purpose is devoted to a greater, universal cause. Nikki Patillo, a former clinical microbiologist and molecular biologist who now works with psychic children, noted that the main purpose of crystal children is to take us to the next level in our evolution and reveal to us our inner and higher power. They are also advocates for love and peace on this planet, and are mostly born into the gold ray of incarnation and evolution, which means they have access to gifts of clairvoyance and healing. Are these children truly special? The question of whether crystal, indigo, and rainbow children represent the latest in parental wishful thinking, or even denial, or whether they are indeed special individuals helping us advance into a new state of consciousness remains highly contentious. Still, it is undeniable that many children simply do not fit in the worldly mold. They are opening a new way of interacting, living, and relating to bringing humanity out of the current dark age of divisiveness and destruction. Whether you believe in the existence of these children or not, they are undeniably leading us out of our individualism into a greater love for the human race and our roles in the universe. Are you a crystal child, or do you have a crystal child? Please share your experiences in the comments below. Could you be a rainbow child? Or do you have a rainbow child? The rainbow children are the third wave of star children right after the indigo and crystal children, who are fearless and trusting souls dedicated to helping humanity by raising the vibration of the planet. It is believed that they have never been incarnated to Earth before, which makes them pure and trusting. Having no past lives, they are free from the effects of past karma. Hence, having no karmic baggage, they are able to fully focus on their mission and purpose. The indigos and crystals have paved the way for rainbow children to bring their unique energies to planet Earth, and hence are ushering humanity to a new era where everyone values and shares selfless love. In this video, we are going to discover the signs of a rainbow child and their characteristics. And when you watch all the way till the end of this video, you'll be able to find useful angelic tools that will help you or your children to uplift your energies and live your unique purpose. Before we continue to the main topic, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please click the subscribe button now and hit the notification bell for you to get notified of our upcoming videos. Rainbow children are called such because they possess happy and joyful auras, reflecting the bright colors of the rainbow. They are normally born after the year 2000, even though few may have arrived earlier. Although rainbow children have never been incarnated on this earth, they may have evolved from other planets where they bring very unique experiences to their current incarnations. They are also born on the highest planes of consciousness. Because they do not have to deal with past traumas, unlike the indigos who go against the grain of society to pave the way, the rainbows now have a much easier time due to the groundwork done by their star predecessors. Most rainbow children have at least one crystal child as their parent. The most admirable characteristic of rainbow children is their fearlessness. They can always express their emotions. They can deal with overwhelming and sometimes destructive emotions immediately. They do not let themselves be drowned by negative emotions because they set their eyes on fulfilling their mission. Rainbow children are also known to have a balanced and harmonious feminine and masculine energy, unlike the rest of the world where it is dominated by a patriarchal society. They are both serene and wise. They value giving more than receiving. Another beautiful characteristic of rainbow children is their healing ability that emanates selfless love and joy. Their rainbow energy spreads and touches other people with healing and love. Sometimes, rainbow children are often seen as stubborn. However, the truth is, they have always been confident and certain about their needs and desires, and will freely express them to people. Rainbow children are also highly enthusiastic. They seem to possess endless energy where they channel it into their passion. These are just some of the beautiful and amazing characteristics of rainbow children. Raising a rainbow child or being one may be a unique challenge for most people. That is why recognizing their unique characteristics will help you bring out the best should you be lucky enough to have a rainbow child or be a teacher or caretaker of one. After all, the misconceptions that people have of their characteristics and attitude may make us misinterpret and misunderstand why they are here and who they really are. Here are 10 signs that will help us have more empathy towards rainbow children.
Dude, did you hear about the TikTok Creator Growth Challenge? What's that? It's a 45-day program designed to help creators grow on the platform and potentially receive up to $30,000 in rewards. Sounds like a no-brainer to join. I think so too. Join the Creator Growth Challenge today.
Whether you're a pro or want pro quality, Harbor Freight understands your job depends on reliable tools.
People on Medicare are now eligible for a $1,200 grocery card. If you want the $1,200...
Sign 1. A rainbow child usually has a crystal parent or parents. This is because rainbows prefer to be born in a happy and loving family, and crystals have the perfect environment that is centered on love and kindness. Crystal parents also emanate the energy that rainbows find themselves to be greatly comfortable in. Sign 2. As new souls on Earth, having no unresolved karmic contracts helps them to focus on their mission without distraction. Parents who are unaware of this may be troubled by their lack of concern for the material world, but that's because these matters do not concern them that much. Sign 3. They are extremely intuitive. They wholly embrace their psychic gifts and make it a part of their lives. They are natural magicians as well. Sign 4. Rainbows possess high and seemingly endless energy. Their energy is so strong and intense that people around them could get affected by their vibration. Rainbows always want to move. They have a hard time staying in one place for a long time. Sign 5. Rainbows get attracted to bright colors, and it shows in how they project themselves and their personalities. They may wear or surround themselves with bright colors. Sign 6. Rainbows are also very passionate and creative. They are really enthusiastic when they focus their energy on the energies of creation, and countless hours are immersed in their unbridled imaginations. Sign 7. Rainbows attract other rainbow children to them. They form cliques and groups among themselves. They have a great sense of connection. They understand that every creature in creation is connected. They understand that the universe exists as a whole. Sign 8. Rainbows are very compassionate people. They exist to share love and joy to humanity and to help the world find their role in the universe. As such, their empathy levels are through the roof. Sign 9. Rainbows are not very competitive in the earthly sense. They are not interested in overpowering their competition. Their involvement in sports and other passions is for enjoyment and passion's sake, and not because they want to harm others. Sign 10. Some rainbow children may not be able to talk immediately as children. It may take them until they are 3 or 4 years old before they can communicate verbally, as they recognize their role as a human being. This is because they are tuned in to their spiritual awareness and often forget to communicate like normal people. Rainbow children are born to heal the world. They are here to reestablish the balance and harmony between humanity and the universe. They are here to open our eyes on how we have been living thus far. They want to show us how distorted our values and morals have become. They want us to realize that we have let humanity get drowned by negative energy. And through the help of light workers, they will help the planet connect to higher vibrations so we can live in a higher state of love and harmony. Having a rainbow child or being one yourself is a challenge you need to face fearlessly. Surround yourself with people who will support and love.
Get outside staff with banana boat.
Put a law firm with experience and resources on your side. Call Smith & Master.
So my name is Amanda. I am the founder of Psychic Kids Network. And today I just felt it was a great fun class to have about learning all about the starseeds and the children that are coming to make waves and shift our consciousness and our planet. And I know some of this stuff sounds a little crazy for those of you who are just starting to open up to this realm. I want to tell you that if I say some stuff and you're just like, what? Don't get hung up on it. Just allow that information to wash over you. So some things you'll be like totally agreeing with. Some things might feel a little out there for you. And please just know that's okay. It's where you're at in your journey. And some things, I never ever want you to believe anything that you don't feel comfortable believing. So that, I just wanted to state that before we get started. But this class is going to run down the different types of starseeds. And it's interesting because I have a whole lot of notes, so I am going to refer to those because there's so many little details about each little group. And I'm excited to share them with you. And you'll notice as we go on that there will be even some things in your own self that you'll find through each one of these groups. Now here's the interesting thing. If you believe in reincarnation, you might have been one of those other starseeds coming through again. You will notice different qualities maybe in your parents or in your grandparents, depending on your age. You'll notice things in yourself or through your peers that are your age. You're going to notice some of these things in your kids, in your neighbors' kids, in your nieces and your nephews and your grandkids, and your friends' kids. You're going to notice different things. Now, a lot of these techniques, a lot of these characteristics are just, they're not like hard, fast. Like just because you have some of them doesn't mean you are that group or whatever. Not everybody comes through as these different starseeds, as these different groups of the blue rays. Not everybody in that age group or time span was a blue ray that came through. Not everybody that is, around my age or so, maybe a little younger, are indigo children. Not every child born today is going to be a rainbow, starseed or a crystal starseed. So just keep that into mind as we work through this class. Each one of these soul groups or these classes of beings, starseeds, are coming through with a different intention or a different purpose. And so we'll start first with the blue rays. And their mission was to come here before anybody else even considered thinking about spiritual concepts, like a higher potential, freedom, consciousness, all of those things. They came in to break the ice. So to infiltrate the system, in the normal capacity, not blow it up that was more of the indigos. We'll get there in a second. But the blue rays were a little bit more chill about it. They didn't struggle and fight with everything. They were different. Their biggest struggle seemed to be, from my research, they had a strong sense of belief in themselves and in creativity and a different view of love. And if you want to think about it as free love era, and even a little bit before that, these beings were starting to come in, shining some light on a higher awareness. They were a little bit more reserved and quieter than the indigos. And they worked to clear all of that energy from human ascension to get this ball rolling. They were very adaptable and empathetic. They can tend to stay in a dysfunctional relationship for a while or too long, because they can adapt, where that's kind of, I mean, it can be helpful, but it can be detrimental if they would adapt to a harder situation for longer than really it was good for them. Their communication really seemed to start to express themselves or come across in their creative arts, music, art, freedom, speech, things like that. They kind of started expressing themselves through creative arts and spirit. It was very important for them to express themselves. It was part of their mission, was expressing this newfound way of thinking and feeling and living. They were the peacemakers with their family and their friends. They started to, this is when some of the food sensitivities started to show up. They started to be sensitive to chemicals in their environment and foods and noise and electricity. And as you know, as electricity and electronics grew and got bigger and bigger and bigger, that's where the sensitivity grew even more down the line a little bit with the indigos. The blue rays tend to have chronic fatigue, and it is because they are here to transform the negative energies into the positive ones. So they're kind of trying to flush all this out. But one thing that they will try to verbalize. They try to verbalize a little bit, but really nobody wanted to listen to them because it was such like a crazy out of this world way of thinking. And so they had to come and kind of break the ice for the indigos to come in. Now the indigos didn't start coming in until the 80s and 90s. That being said, there were some scouts that were sent in earlier, mixing in towards the end of the blue rays coming in. Now the blue rays and the indigos are very, very, very similar in some ways, and especially in that time period of overlapping, you'll find blue rays had characteristics of the indigos, and indigos maybe would have been felt like old school, but the blue rays are, they have that feeling of old soul but new soul at the same time, because they're kind of bridging that gap there. Where the indigos came in and they just made waves. They were like, y'all, this is not how we're gonna do things. I speak from experience. I am an indigo, so I will be 40 this year. So I am an indigo. Came in to make waves. They don't like authority. They don't like to accept that. They're extremely intuitive and psychic and creative and fearless in the beginning, especially when they come out and they don't have that conditioning and they haven't started to conform to the ways of society. As children, they were like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. Thank you, have a nice day, bye-bye. That's just the way they were. They would get frustrated if they met that resistance, or if they felt insecure, they would get frustrated with themselves and with whatever it was that they were seeming to bump up against that couldn't push through and break through that wall there. They don't like constriction, and they want to be able to transform and transmute things to different, so that there's more adapting and more people can come together and work together. So they need to be raised in the environment with clear boundaries and structure so that they can feel safe. But they don't really like the boundaries and the structure because it makes them feel contained. So there's a little bit of that pushback where they kind of ran into some issues with that. So in one of the articles that I was reading, it said that it was a quote, the downfall is that they do not learn the same as others. And I'm gonna sort of go off on a side street for a second. As a child raised in the 80s and 90s, I had a very hard time paying attention. I did not learn like the other children. No, I did not. So they don't learn the same, that's true. Is it a downfall? That kind of chapped my cheeks. And I'm going to tell you why. It wasn't until I was a freshman in high school that I got diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. Now, I didn't have the behavioral aspect of it. Like, I wasn't getting into trouble. I wasn't getting into big trouble, but I talked all the time. And I would sit next to whomever. My fifth grade teacher ran into my parents. I don't know, I was probably in college. And he said to them, he said, you know, I will never forget Amanda. And my parents are like, oh. Okay. And he said, I will never forget Amanda. She talked to everybody. And he, I think, was kind of one of the ones that kind of pushed my mom to say, like, to examine maybe being, having attention deficit disorder. Because it was by fourth grade, I think, third grade probably, if they were really, you know. But fourth grade is when I started noticing that I could completely check out and go somewhere else in class. Not meaning to, it was just like, oops, I stopped listening. And I started watching that bird outside the window, and then I noticed that it had a friend, and I wondered where they lived, and boop, there it goes. And so, one of the things that they say indigos are prone to is the lack of attention and the hyperactivity. And so, one thing that, you know, well, I digress. My teacher had told my parents, I can sit her next to anybody and she will talk to them. He said, I knew that there were even some kids that maybe they weren't, you know, totally a match. She's now friends with them. He said, I put her, you know, next to his desk. So and I remember this, my desk faced Mr. Platt's desk and I looked right at him. And at one point, I remember this day, we were supposed to do our scholastic reading and fill out our worksheets, and, you know, I'm sitting there and I stop and I lean over, I'm like, Mr. Platt, and we start talking, and then we were talking for a few minutes, and then he's like, you need to do your work. And I got my desk moved out into the hallway because I was talking to Mr. Platt, and I was talking to him, and now I was distracting the teacher. I'm going to talk to everybody. Back to the article, and it said the downfall, and I didn't like that because I feel, and I've done lots of reading, and I have been talking to lots of people about ADD and ADHD, and the different qualities of, or the different characteristics of indigos, and how that label started coming around when we started coming through, when the indigos started coming through, and it was because we didn't learn the same. Here's the thing, how can we learn the same when our brains are firing off in different, like, dimensions? When I'm paying attention to spirit, when I was a little kid and could feel, sense, hear spirit, you want me to pay attention to what's going on here? Like, there's a lot of information coming in. So we had, yes, they have hard times appearing from the outside, or someone who wouldn't understand this, staying on task, staying organized, listening through when we're spoken to directly. That is hard for me. I'm a hands-on. Let me do it. I have to be the movement. I have to be in it. I have to be working it. I have to be in the energy of it. I'm all in no matter what. So that's kind of how that would roll. We can be very, indigos can be very distracted very easily as well. You know, hence the squirrel. Hyperactivity, we tend to fidget. I don't know if you notice, I try so hard, but when I'm really into something, I'm into it. I'm really into it. And that's the energy of it. We fidget with our hands, our feet, we squirm in our seats. Classrooms were hard to have these kids to stay seated. They needed to, you know, move a little about. Some of those who didn't really have that motor in their body, but they had the motor in their jaws, it was talking excessively and impulsively, blurting out answers before, you know, the questions were completed, difficulty waiting their turn. All of these things I remember struggling with as a child. And that's when I got put on Ritalin. My friends would tell my mom, like, please don't make her go to the office and take that, because I would have to take 2 doses, because the extended release didn't work for me, whatever. So then my friends would be like, don't go to the office, you're so much more fun without it. And I remember, you know, we had a hard time getting my dosage right, because I felt like a zombie, you know? I'm this happy-go-lucky, like, yay! And then I take this medicine and I'm like, I'm so focused that it's almost weird. Depending on how you want to look at this, I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to kind of shift gears a little bit. Now, I'm not trying to say, I don't want to bring up government or any sort of crazy theories or anything like that, but I will say, you know, when it comes down to keeping our pineal gland, which is that, you know, the little microphone, it kind of turns on, it's your key, it's your doorway, it's your passageway to your intuition. Chemicals in our food and in our water and all that kind of tends to calcify that pineal gland. And then we end up having a harder time connecting directly to God, creator energy. And so that's the same thing with the medicine. It would help. It would help you to concentrate, but it would also shut off that connection to the, you know, the outer dimensions or the other worlds. I don't want to get too far into this, but there have been some really interesting articles that if you are interested in this, I suggest that you look this up, but it can be a way of really forming and I don't like the word control, but overseeing the way people think and expand their consciousness. And I feel like it's kind of important at this day and age for us to really kind of backpedal and like push away from trying to go down that road of, you know, chemicals and sweets and all of those things, and trying to stay more of the natural and organic and wholesome, lots of water, things for our body, really being body conscious, because that is going to help awaken that pineal gland again. And what that does is it reconnects you to the divine. And I feel personally, this is my opinion, but I feel that this day and age, we really need to start getting back to staying into connection with the God within, because if we don't, we'll be able to be manipulated by outside sources. Not trying to go scary, but I'm just saying, you know, you'll be more apt to even just following the opinions of your friends and not thinking on your own terms. And like I said, I'm not trying to digress too far, but that's just definitely something that we need to be aware of. And I encourage you to do your own research on this to see how you feel about that. And see if maybe pulling out some of the garbage that we put in our mouths and our diets will really help clear that up. And I know for myself, as someone who's always had stomach aches, bad sensitivities to foods, it took me 6 years ago, found out I couldn't eat gluten, and I have issues with dairy, and I have a whole bunch of other food sensitivities, mold, mildew, which I knew about, things like that compound it, that actually help my body actually shuts down and doesn't work as high frequency as it could if all of these things are coming through my body. My body's working on filtering out that. It can't work on, you know, keeping my vibration high. So now, going back to the indigos. So the Blue Rays came on their mission to kind of break the ice and kind of get things going. Indigos came to just clear it up. Like, we're just gonna clear it up. They came through with very strong opinions. They came through wanting to shift humanity even further. If you were born up until like the mid-90s, you could definitely still be a indigo child. So the crystal children came the late 90s through the first decade of the 2000s. Now, like I said before, they sent scouts. So there could be crystal children that are a little older. So it's not like a cut and dry, you know, they overlap a little bit. So you can still get some stragglers and you can get some scouts that came in early. So they are here, the crystal children are here to develop, mold, and create new ways of living while acting as the bridge between the old and the new. Again, so they're kind of that bridge. Again, all three so far, the Blue Ray, the indigo, and the crystal, are all bridges, part of this bridging. But the indigos is really where they came in to like We're gonna really start to put the pedal down and deconstruct and push down things that just no longer, more equality and more, fairness, things like that. So when the crystal came in, they are born to the indigo parents who have the ability to support and protect these kiddos as they go out on their mission. Because the crystal children are healers. They're in touch with their energy. They are more aware of it, especially when they're younger. They usually have a parent that's an indigo. It doesn't have to be both, it can just be one. This can create some between the indigo itself, the indigo parent, and the non-indigo, or maybe it is an indigo, but it's not really driving as one. That crystal child needs that indigo parent to help. It's hard when you've got parenting styles are different from everybody, but then you have maybe parenting beliefs. As long as the child knows that it has one parent that it can come to, even if the other parent isn't in 100% belief of it, it still needs to be fair and talked about with that child. Even if the other parent doesn't 100% agree, if there's only one, it would be best for the child to at least have an open lines of communication. If one parent isn't really tolerant of the subject, that's okay, because that's that parent path. However, maybe that crystal child is here to move and shape kind of that person to come around, and maybe not. That's just the way it goes. But again, ebb and flow. There will be times of communication, and there will be times of, maybe we shouldn't talk about this right now, we'll talk about it later type deal. But you don't want to have that crystal child feel that they cannot connect or talk. Crystal children are emotional, and they make decisions on intuition and feeling rather than fact. For some of the indigo parents, because the crystal children, because of their extreme emotions, so it can be hard for indigo parents to really feel like they're getting through to the crystal children, because the indigo parents still have that sense of, I don't want to say like old world, but like old school beliefs of, whatever the case may be, but there's going to be a little bit of turbulence there, as there always is, as this consciousness shifts and changes. So the crystal children are great with connecting with young children, animals, vulnerable people. They are like born comforters. They are your animal whisperers. They are the animal communicators. They are the ones who see life in everything. They have this divine imagination, like the indigo kids, but the crystal children, with their imagination / intuition, because I feel like very much so it's two in the same, they have the indigo parent who's going to be a little bit more hip to this belief and able to support and willing to talk to that kid about their abilities, or willing to go there with them, whereas indigos often have parents who weren't really hip to what they were talking about, or who couldn't just really understand where they were coming from. So the crystal children are fearless. Fearless. They are born without this belief in lack. They're just naturally fearless. They are your adventure seekers. They like spontaneous fun. They like excitement, heights. They like to go to places unknown, and they just have this freedom and knowing that they're going to be fine and what they're going to do, and everybody is all right and it's all good. It's all good. It's just the way they are. They have an incredible sense of creativity and artistic expression, and their vibrant imaginations aren't just that, but that's how they see the world. They're very psychic. They can hear, see, feel beyond your typical person. Or the downside to that is that they can feel overstimulated. They're very big in the healing arts, and this is where telekinesis, or like telepathy, starts to come in. Not telekinesis. Well, maybe. I guess since I said that, I don't even really talk about that. Telekinesis is the ability to move things with your mind. I personally have not seen that yet. I'm not gonna say I never have or never will because I have no idea. But they are more of your, starting to be more of like the telepathic thinking in that, connecting in consciousness. They're very connected to nature, and they thrive in natural environments, natural foods, things like that. Very good for their bodies. They seem to be more of like the mystical, like they want to talk to the fairies, and they want to be outside and spend hours with rocks and crystals and sitting quietly in the nature and playing in the water, playing in the earth elements. They have this very big drive and need for peace. And I mean, I don't know, they just sound like such sweet little souls that they want to be, and being outside in nature is good for them. It's grounding. I'm not one big on shielding, but shielding is coming to mind. So shielding is coming through as, this is how they shield. It's almost like how they would plug themselves back in, like if, you know, you're an iPhone and your battery was running low, you're gonna plug it back into the wall. That's kind of how these children, the crystals, kind of plug back into their groundedness, is out in nature. Have the biggest hearts, and they are extremely forgiving. They're not the type that's gonna hold a grudge against anybody. They just love. So they kind of remind me of like an upgraded version of like your, excuse me for saying this, but like your old school hippie. You know, they're like the upgraded, more more advanced, spiritually advanced hippie. For sensories, this is where the sensory issues started coming into play. It's the overstimulated but now loud noises. They're very empathic when it comes to picking up emotional pains, any emotional well-being of other people. They're highly, highly affectionate and always ready for a hug. They have unconditional love to offer for their friends and their family. They do tend to have, even though they love to communicate this way, they do have a harder time starting in the beginning with communication, but they do end up finding other ways to communicate. For example, you know, whether it's they pick up really quick on sign language, because maybe you notice your kiddo isn't speaking as fast as some of the peers or your other children. This kiddo, you'll end up getting a new, you know, like more, you'll end up teaching them little tiny signs and they will use those, but then eventually they come around. They're not emotionally supported. They do have sensitivity of being maybe like dependent or codependent on that parent, because they feel that emotional connection there. And so that they could struggle then if they're not completely, you know, if they don't feel 100% secure, and that balance is off just a little, they might struggle with a little bit of fear, or negative reactions to other people. And then they will tend to be more towards like risk of anxiety, panic attacks, and other like mental health challenges down the road because of the sensitive rawness and bigness of their emotion, and they're willing just to be there. It kind of, you know, if they can get taken advantage of or not supported in the way that they need, that can happen. You know, I've read a couple articles and they're like, these kids are going to be your veterinarians, your massage therapists, your school teachers, all because of their strong intuitive ability to sense things. And so I think that I have a few teachers who are intuitive and who are empaths, and the way they love their kids is in their classrooms is just, it's beautiful. The way they can intuit what they need. They can pick up on much more than just their body language or maybe how they're doing. It's what they're not doing and what they're not saying, and it's what their eyes are telling them when they look into them. The crystal children are going to be amazing when they get to be older and they are doing all of these things. This is the future of humans. Okay, so the rainbow children. Most of these kids are coming, and this is exciting. Like, I was having a ball reading these guys. Most of these kids are coming through from 2010-ish. Again, like I said before, sending scouts in earlier, so there were some rainbows that were coming in with the crystals still. And there's still, you know, some crystals that are trialing in. But as the shift makes it's happened between 2010 and it'll be up until 2030. Could have been a few more scouts even before 2000s, but they have the characteristics of the Rainbow Children are fun. This is the new humans. This is, I feel like they're going to need to have these skills in order to really connect. I'm getting ahead of myself. Really connect down the line. So let's jump into it. Okay, so these kiddos, the Rainbow Kids, are high energy, very attuned to color and vibration. They are passionate about creativity. They love bright colors and colorful environment. Everything is they're enthusiastic about everything. They're just like a big ball of sunshine. They're master manifestors. They can manifest anything that they think. They have a very strong healing ability and a little bit of telepathy as well. Their parents are crystal adults. So if their parents were crystals and they were maybe even part of the scouts that came in, it's possible for them to come in and have, so they can be adults now and have Rainbow Children. So they are here. So even if you're not fixed right in the years for each group or each category, that's okay. Because you could have been a scout, or your kid could have been a scout, or your parent could have been a scout. This is kind of like that. Doesn't always have to run in families. Those Blu-rays, I mean, they really had to push through because they were like the first ones to come in and shift and change. So, and it started to happen, throughout. So maybe you might be the first one in your family. Your kid might be the first one in your family to come through that's really kind of shaking things up a little bit. So the crystal children do not choose dysfunctional families. They are brand new souls. They have no karma to work out. Now, I want to pause and take a little bit of a side street on that. What I mean by that is the indigos would come in and they wanted a little bit of that dysfunction, or they wanted a little bit of that hardship because it's going to push them to meet their mission, or to come do what their soul is going to help their soul to do what it came here to do. The crystal children are kind of like, we're going to come through and we're just going to spread glitter and sunshine everywhere. So we don't want to have to deal with that. So we are going to let our parents, or even our grandparents come through, do the hard work. The indigo is going to come through, kind of do all that, breaking things up a little bit. The crystal's going to come in, start to lay that groundwork and make sure the healing is good. The rainbows are going to come in, and they're just going to high vibe the heck out of everything. So they are all about service, which is why they're here. That's what they're here for. They're here to serve, and they're here to work on healing. They have big eyes, like the crystal children, but they are more trusting than the crystal children. The crystal children still knew that there was some work to do, where the rainbows are here like, we just want to high vibe and love everything. The Rainbow Children are the third generation of the children who've come to help humanity evolve. So their name, let's see, I'm going to read this part. Their name, the Rainbow Children, came to Earth with a few more other spectrum of ray color. They are born on the 9th dimension of consciousness, the dimension of collective consciousness. They bring joy and harmony to their families. A rainbow child is born to smile, which is accompanied by their huge hearts that are full of forgiveness. They recover from the state of negative emotion quickly. They are emotional masters. They have the ability to read people's feelings, usually revealed as they grow older. Their intuitive abilities, these extra sensories, are going to grow, and this is going to be more of, you're going to start seeing more energy healers. You're going to start seeing more intuitive coaches and teaching. You're going to start seeing abilities show up, and to be an intuitive or to be psychic, you don't have to be one on the internet. Like, you can just be that and bring it into your job. You can be intuitive in your business. You can use your intuitive abilities. You can lean in and work with spirit and with God on these, using your abilities to help you move forward and help the betterment for whatever that you're doing or working on. And so as these kids come up and start to work, they are really going to expand and bring in the healing arts more to your regular everyday jobs. And they're going to shift the way that they do things, the paradigms and the way that things have been run for a long time. But they're doing this to increase our awareness of consciousness. They have very strong wills because they know how connected they are. They know that this is here, that they're here, they are created to come here and just blow everybody's socks off. Because this is their first time around. What do they got to lose? They have no fear because they know what they're here for. They're highly sensitive, loving, forgiving, magical like the crystal children. But the difference is because they've never been here, that's where they need that functional household. They need it to be peaceful. They're not going to choose the chaos to grow up in or the karma. And when I say karma, it's not like your Hollywood karma. It's the things that your soul is needing to work through. So they don't have to work through any of that because they're here to raise everybody up and move forward. They also don't care what people think. They don't care. So Blu-rays came and they started entering in with this new age way of thinking, I don't even like new age way, but the new way of thinking. They came with their creative and their music and their expression and the way they dress and different things like that, and kind of shook things up and heard a lot of opinions. And there was a lot of opinions and a lot of shame put into that, like, well, you shouldn't dress like that, and women should wear skirts, and different things started shifting and changing in all directions. The Blu-rays kind of had that ancestral, they might have had some of that guilt or resentment. Indigos come through, and because of the way ancestral DNA works, they inherit some of that if they have a parent who was a Blu-ray. And when that comes through, it comes in with that indigo who's really here to shift and change, but then they kind of feel like, well, I kind of have to worry about what everybody else says, or maybe because they were raised by a Blu-ray or another indigo who still hadn't worked out their feelings or worked out, their soul connection here, they might have a hard time. So when it comes, that karma travels through, so then it might take another, maybe either that indigo eventually later in life, or their child, the crystal child, is able to heal that ancestral DNA and the ancestral karma, so that when the rainbow starseed comes, it's all cleared up. Like, we don't have to do that. We're just here to party. We're here to, increase the vibration of everyone. They will spend a lot of time alone. They love to learn things, but it's almost like they just need to tap into the knowledge a little, and it comes right to them, and they teach. They are going to be amazing teachers because they're teaching from their heart, but they're teaching from clarity. They're teaching from sheer connectedness. So they're going to have that love for travel and creating and making friends easy. They're just going to have it so easy when it comes to soul mission. I'm not saying everyday life, they're going to have struggles. It's not going to be like, because that's, hopefully it'd be great, but they're going to still, they're still having this human experience, but this is on a soul level. So this is what their souls are going to be. They're going to love to set goals, and they're going to achieve them like that. They are going to prefer to work in the background, because they want to really be that backbone and support and nurture and encourage everybody to move on and move forward. So you're going to see them in businesses, you're going to see them in healthcare. They're going to be everywhere. They're going to be in the background of everything, really making sure that things really go in the right direction. Whew, that was a lot of information, but that's the 4 different groups. And it was funny, last night, my husband and I were watching TV, and we were watching a special on the Grateful Dead. And I was listening to the story of Jerry Garcia and his friend, what, is it Wild? No, shoot! And I kept thinking to myself, are they Blu-rays? Are they Indigos? Are they Blu-rays or are they the Indigo Scouts? Because as I was listening to this documentary and they were talking about the way that they came through with their new way of music, the way they would, he was the backup guitarist, and the way he would support Jerry Garcia. They would play their songs, but then they would kind of go on to this extra bit of the song. And it was interesting because they were actually channeling the music. They were channeling together. They were riding that same wave of consciousness as they were able to create that music. And that's how it was able to go. And it was beautiful. And people would be like, oh, they must have rehearsed that for hours. We talked about this in this documentary, how into this thing, this new way of thinking. And everybody thought they were crazy, but yet their music was amazing. And so I turned to my husband, he's starting to, I can tell he's got no choice. He's starting to believe. Honey, if you're watching, I'm sorry, I love you. He goes, do you understand what this is about? I'm like, they're channeling. This is the information. They're channeling this music. It's coming straight in. Like that's how all of the musicians do it. You know, it's just.
Thank y'all for listening. I'll be back with something else once I find something that I'm interested in and y'all be interested in as well. All right, love y'all. Bye.